This is a instructional video on how to build a cigar box guitar. This is how I built mine. It's going to be a step-by-step video, pretty much covering your first thing you're going to want to do is locate yourself a box. This particular box that I built off of is 8 inches long, and it's 6.5 inches wide. They say ideally the size of a piece of copier paper and about 2.5 to 3 inches thick is the size you'd want to use. What I done was I went to a local hardware store, and one of the popular ones, and I picked up a 72-inch board, which is actually in the hobby section in the front part of the wood department, right before all the heavy construction stuff up front. This is actually called a 2 by 72, but actually in reality it's about 1.5 inches wide, and it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. This here is redwood. I cut this at 36 inches. It seems to be a pretty decent length, general length to use. And to make your holes, you'll start out with a 1/4 inch, and then you'll increase your size where your tuning pegs go to a 5/16, and the 5/16 will go about 2/3 of the way through your actual wood. Tools to have that are important are a measuring tape, a 1/4 inch drill bit, a 5/16 drill bit, a drill, some wood glue, and some clamps. You can locate a box online. You can get one from a friend, relative, or neighbor. This one actually, a guy gave it to me at work. I explained to him my new hobby, and he said, "Hey, I don't have no problem giving you a box." He says, "I got plenty of those things." I said, "Well," I'll let you check it out when I get it built. So here we go, free box. That always helps towards your goal if you're trying to stay in the low cost range. And pretty much how you're going to figure out where to cut is going to be, you're going to hang about 3 inches over the back part of the box itself, and that seems to be a pretty good length as far as that goes. It allows you to make a bridge. I mean, this one here was actually 2.25, but you could go up to 3 inches. You probably wouldn't want to go over 3. But you definitely want somewhere around 2.25, 2.5 minimum. And basically what I done was I took a piece of paper and I drew around the bottom with a pencil and made a small pattern. And then after you have your pattern cut out, then basically what you want to do is open up your box and put your pattern inside your box all the way near your top rim. Your actual top part, it's going to be cut all the way through the side to the very top board. So this part here will be cut through, and this part here will be cut through to actually match the thickness of your neck itself. Near the hobby section, there's also another piece of redwood wood, which is this particular piece here, and this particular piece here I used to actually be part of the fretboard. Unless you're a master craftsman or you're wanting to spend a lot of time in this, this is a pretty good idea to raise your neck fretboard. You're still going to want plenty of height because due to the fact that it is a slide guitar, and that always is helpful to keep away from buzz. This particular one I didn't fret or anything like that. I just wanted to make it basic. So pretty much what I did was I figured my 2.5 inches out the back, and then I drawed a couple lines across here, one here, one at the actual end itself, and then this became the point to where I laid my wood glue right down the center. And then of course after putting your wood glue down the center, just simply line up your lines. It's important that you want flat wood at the store, so you might have to take a look at several boards at the store, because you certainly wouldn't want a warped one. And make sure that particular board fits together with your part that you're using for a fretboard too as well. Sometimes these get warped as well, so you might have to go through the rack and kind of find a few pieces that that actually fit flat together. That's quite helpful. And then at that point, after you make your glue joint, you can use ideally some wood clamps. I didn't have any wood clamps, so at that time I went with some metal clamps, as you can see, and then of course you want some wood blocks to keep indentations from happening. So you'll have extra wood, you'll have extra parts from doing this, and you may even consider a second guitar like I'm doing right now. So this here was clamped up for about 24 hours, and this thing's glued so tight it's probably close to welding as far as metal goes, what you can claim with wood. The wood glue out there, I actually use seal-tight wood glue. There's plenty of different good brands that you can use as far as that goes. And as far as the parts and electronics goes, I went with for your actual string inserts, I went with T-nuts, which you can also find at the same hardware store. I went with 3 of those, and these particular T-nuts at this popular hardware store is a 1024 by 932, and they're called T-nuts brad hole stainless steel. And basically you're going to use these to thread your strings through. So they actually drill your holes from your back, your 1/4 inch hole from your actual back itself, and then comes all the way through to the front. These are compressed down in there. A 1/4 inch hole gives you a good tight fit, so you can compress it down in with a pair of pliers. And then of course your threaded nut. This here can be a bolt that you've cut the head off of, or it can be thread itself. One of these goes at this end, and of course your other one, your nut, is actually a bolt. That's kind of funny. So basically then you're lining up this to hold your strings. And this particular area down here, of course, is your bridge. You want, of course, your bridge is a little higher than your actual nut itself, so your strings do a slope and keeps them a halfway decent amount away from the neck, but yet not to the point to where it's too far or uncomfortable to play. You can still actually play notes and not have any fret buzz. The tuning is open G tuning. It's basically it's just G, G, and G-A-D actually, so it's G, A, and D. And together this makes a G chord, of course a low one. And that's the basic tuning with it. These were 3/4 inch hole saw holes, and of course your transducer was located back here. On my second build I'll use an actual guitar pickup due to the fact that the transducer is a microphone, and you deal with gain issues whenever you use a microphone in front of speakers or an amplifier, and so you have to keep your gain really low or use a foot pedal and turn up your volume to your PA system. It's a combination of the two. You could use a simple cheap guitar pickup. Might cost a couple bucks more, but well worth it. And as far as your sandpaper goes, I used 200 grade sandpaper, and then I used 180. Actually, I used 180 and then 220, the finer last. And then I went with some redwood wood stain, and I went with 3 clear coats of shellac, clear coat shellac, and I used a sponge on that. As far as that goes, the sponge brush seems to be a better applicator than an actual horsehair brush or a paintbrush. That's my contribution to my new hobby. Hope it's helped you build your own. Thanks for watching.